All right, how's it going, everyone? So we have the GTX 460 here again. Um, yeah, this is the EVGA GTX 460. We went over this in another video. This card here is a three-phase, so 3+1. Uh, three for the core, one for the memory, and it is voltage modded for the memory and for the core, and extra capacitors, MLCCs, extra surface mount, and can caps on the whole thing. VRMs done with MLCCs and caps, and then the two surface mount caps here that we had. Yeah, we had to switch them out. So here we go. We got this going here, and the one video is talking about the extra mods I was going to do to it. I did do the VRM mod, which changed the switching frequency on it from, it was roughly 300 kilohertz, and I wanted to go up from there. And then, yeah, I'll be making a data sheet. Like I'll make a video showing how to do the actual data sheet on it, show how to find data sheets easier in that, not just for this controller, but for a whole bunch of different kind of controllers, like this one here for the memory and over here for the core. But I'll be like showing it on different kind of cards as well, like the RX Vega here, the Vega 56, like the 9500 GS. I'll just show a whole bunch of different controllers and how each one looks a little bit different than the other, but you can find them all fairly easily. Like this one's hidden underneath the pin there, but I'll be making a video here probably in the next couple of days on how to find out how to find the data sheets for each controller. And then if people need me to make a video on to go over what the data sheet is actually saying on the controllers, on what it actually means, I can actually make a video on that too. But I've been people are asking me to make a video on how to find the data sheets for each controller, and I'll do that for like, I don't know, 6 or 8 different kind of controllers, all the ones that I have, and I can show you how I'm finding the information, whatnot. So this card does not work right now. Okay. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not gonna disassemble anything on this card. Uh, Only thing that I have to do on this card to get it working again is the controller. And yeah, so we have to replace this ncp5388 controller. It's a buck controller, 3/4 phase controller, 3-phase for the core, and that's all it uses. And yeah, the reason why it stopped working is probably because I overheated it with the switching frequency for the VRM. Now, how I did the VRM mod was it just redid this resistor divider on it. That's all I had to do is just replace a resistor on it. And if you just give me one sec here, I'll zoom in for you. So here we go. We got it right here. And myself a multimeter so I can show you. So this is the ncp5388. This is a buck controller for the card. This does the cores, does VRMs, does a whole bunch of monitoring for it, like overcurrent protection, over voltage protection, voltage sense, vid, and also for feedback. Yeah, so we got this here. Now, I was trying to figure out what the card, like how the card was going on it, like, because it just kept on hitting overcurrent protection on my power supply, which is good to have a good power supply that does that so that we don't blow up the card. And it was only tripping again on the top 6 pin, not the bottom pin. So this bottom pin probably goes to something else. Probably just goes straight to the memory for the memory controller. And this 6 pin could probably go straight to the actual core. At least that's my guess on that. Now, so this right here has a small, very, very small little mark on it. I don't know if I can even shine that enough. So right there, as you can see, we got that little mark there. Very slightly raised up. And now that is probably due to the fact when I redid the resistor divider here. So just switching out Make sure I'm pointing to the right one here. So just switching out this resistor right here. And you can check this over on the data sheet. But if you just replace a small resistor with a different size resistor, you can change the PWM. And that is on the ILIM. That changes the switching frequency for the card. So I put it to a 10 kilo ohm, which roughly puts it to 920 kilohertz switching frequency. Now, I did not want it to go that high. I was hoping when I changed the resistor divider for an like the whole resistor divider, because I was trying to figure out the overcurrent protection. I was hoping that if I used a smaller resistor like a 10 kilo ohm, it would not go that high, but it did. And it was working just fine. Everything was working really good. But then I did a test on Furmark, and yeah, it must have put too much load in that to the controller and burnt it out, unfortunately. And that was roughly just slightly above stock voltage. So the voltage itself wasn't the issue. I've used this card and gone a lot higher than roughly stock voltage onto it. It was the switching frequency, and this controller can handle 1 megahertz. It's supposed to handle 1 megahertz, and the DR MOSFETs here. So these doctor MOSFETs is what we like to call them. These doctor MOSFETs can handle 1 megahertz as well. No, like should be no issue. Of course, temperature is going to rise with switching frequency. That's one thing you got to worry about. Since I wasn't putting the voltage through them, this low voltage, these stayed very, very cool. But I didn't have any airflow on the back of the card for the actual controller here. And I should have realized that this was going to get hot. I didn't realize it was going to get that hot. I should have had a fan on the back of the card, but it did not. Probably a fan just on the back of the card would have helped save this controller. But I have to order myself a new controller, or just hopefully get a whole bunch of dead cards that I could just grab a controller off of. And yeah, there you go. But yeah, I've already looked on eBay. They're about $10. I'd have to spend $10 to get one of these shipped over to me. And yeah, I'll probably get a bunch of them because I'm gonna be doing more testing on controllers like this one here, which a lot of controllers are roughly the same as this one. So like, it's not like it's gonna be a huge difference between each controller for like each buck controller, like this one. So like you got a resistor divider for the actual ILIM. You got overcurrent protection on a lot of controllers. You got a lot of over voltage protection on a lot of controllers, VID as well. You got voltage sense on a lot of controllers. You just got a whole bunch of different kind of controllers that are roughly the same. The pins might be a little bit different of a layout, or they might have more pins for added bonuses for those controllers that some cards might utilize. And some cards have it, but don't utilize it. Depends on manufacturer, but this is EVGA. So, but yep, that is one thing you got to watch out for if you're going to be modifying the actual switching frequency. 600 kilohertz probably would have been a lot safer for this, or just having a fan, or maybe make yourself a heat sink if you're going to start pushing the switching frequency to its max, pretty close to its max. Have like a heat sink that you can put onto the actual controller itself, some sort of thermal pad with a heat sink, or straight onto it with some like thermal paste with a heat sink, and keep it nice and cool. And that would probably help benefit you to not destroy your controller. And it took me a while to figure out it was the controller. I went to take a picture of the controller because I was going to make a data sheet video to show how to find data sheets for controllers. And I actually saw that there's a very little mark onto it. And that's slightly, I mean, we're talking very slightly raised. And that just simplified that, yeah, this controller right here is done for, and I'll have to replace that to further bench this card. But during testing at 900 kilohertz, I gotta say, very, very beneficial, very beneficial. I'm going to be doing testing from the stock roughly 300 kilohertz. It's like 270, 300 kilohertz depending on load. And then I'm going to do testing at 300 kilohertz, 400 kilohertz, 500 kilohertz, 600 kilohertz, 700 kilohertz, and then back to 900 kilohertz. The 900 kilohertz, wow, I was impressed at how much more gains I could get out of this card. This is not a top tier card, by the way. It is a low tiered EVGA GTX 460. And yeah, I was very, very impressed. So yeah, if you guys want me to make other videos on showing anything about graphics cards and that, or want me to do testing on some graphics cards to see how far you can actually go for certain things and what to watch out for. I already know I've done a lot of my own testing. Just doing your own testing can help make you learn a bit faster and know what issues can arise from doing something, and you can put that towards other cards and just take that knowledge and make things a bit better. If you guys want to help out the channel, I got a live stream almost every single day. I do have a PayPal if you want to help out this channel throughout PayPal. I do have a Patreon page. I have not been up to date with the Patreon page, so my apologies on that. And if you want to become part of my channel, I do have different kind of tiers for this channel that you can do a monthly or yearly subscription to. Again, thank you guys for helping me out. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and as always, don't forget to get her done. Peace.